This is Mike with OPST. Today I'm out on the water. We're in spring runoff, rivers chocolate brown. We're just doing casting to show you. We're looking at the D2 tips that we've brought out here in the last couple of weeks. The idea behind them is for trout spay and for your single hand rods. Most wouldn't think of that, but if you got, this is a technical trout line looped on with our D2 tip. This is 6 foot of T6 with 2 feet of floating. So if you come up on a run, you're dry fly fishing, you're nymphing, and you're like, I want to throw streamers through this run, and you don't want to carry another rod, you don't want to carry another reel, literally loop on one of our D2s, and you'll be surprised at how easy it casts, and it'll change your game and let you, like if you're hiking into places and it's all about carrying less, this is the way to do it. And I'll show you some casts with this, and I think you guys will really like it. So we're just showing you the D2, how to apply it. Guys are typically going to think, okay, this is for trout spay. Yes, it is, but it's also for your single hand. It works out perfect. This is a 9 foot 5 weight. This is a technical trout line. This is a line I use for dry fly and nymphing a lot of the time. Literally all you got to do is loop on one of our D2 tips. Super easy. This is the 2 foot of float, 6 foot of T6. Put your streamer on that you want to fish, and literally it'll cast just like your technical trout line. It doesn't add any difference to your cast. It won't change up your stroke and turns over amazing. It'll hover you, cast and strip. Your fly is gonna stay under the water deeper than if you're using a floating line, just like if a guy that's fishing with a dedicated sink tip. But you have the ability that this I'm gonna do for this run, and the next run I'm gonna go back to nymphing, or I'm gonna go back to dry fly fishing, and it's literally unloop it, put your normal setup back on, and you're good to go. You don't have to carry an extra rod to fish a couple streamer runs. You can literally just change them up as you go. And if you're hiking in a place, or you got somewhere you can't carry very much gear, it's nice just to have a quick change like that and still be very efficient and get into fish that you wouldn't normally get into. So just casting here. Like I said, I got a technical trout line. I nymph with this line. I dry fly with this line. It's something, it's a true weight forward line. It's not a bump up. So if it says it's a 5 weight, it's a 5 weight. That matches up with how I like to cast. If you want to bump up, it's okay. You can do those. This will turn over even easier. But literally with this tip on, it's that easy. You won't even notice the weight. It's such an easy transition to throw a tip, and it'll hold your fly down in that zone longer. So if you're swinging through it, or you're casting and stripping, if you had a floating tip, your fly's gonna come up to the surface. This is just gonna keep it down in that hover zone. If you were full strip, it's just, you get that T6 down there working, and you're gonna pick up fish that you wouldn't normally pick up unless you had a separate rod designated to fish streamers. And this is just a quick add-on. Put your tip on. You can see, change nothing in your casting stroke. You won't feel it, and it turns over beautiful. So the idea behind these D2 tips came from the Mo tip, which Ed Ward was one of the main designers in that. Everyone that steelhead fish knows the Mo tip, knows how effective they are, knows how much of a game changer they are. Trout guys, if you're a big trout guy, say fishing in Alaska in big water, you fish Mo tips. If you're Montana or Idaho, they're too big, they're too heavy, your rods are too light, so they don't apply to it. So we wanted to bring that to the real trout market that's never seen this style of tip before, and open up different waters. And like I said, the difference between a 4x4 and a 2x6 and an 8 just is angle of attack. So it allows you, with what we talked about, you can look back at Ed's pullback drop down, and you can attack a round structure. You can get behind a rock that you haven't been able to get behind before with a different angle. And that sink rate and that hover changes where your fly is at a little bit that hasn't been there before. So you'll get into fish that haven't seen a fly come in at that angle before. And angle attack is key when fishing, always. Because if your angle is wrong, you miss a fish. So if you have an opportunity to fish a couple different angles, your buddy's fishing one, you're fishing another, he might catch a fish that you miss, and vice versa, and it's literally could be the exact same fly, but the fish didn't see it come in the same way. And these tips, I feel, will change your game on that. It'll give you a lot more opportunity to fish different angles with a true tip that's built for trout fishing. So again, super easy to cast. Same casting strokes. You won't feel the weight of the tip on your line at all. This is, if you had a Rio Grande or a Rio Gold, which are line bump ups, it's going to even cast even easier, which doesn't seem possible because even on this line, there's no difference in the action of the line with this tip on it.